Hi all, this video is going to show you how to report an incident in iCM. So from your home page, you are going to go to the Incident Reporting Center. And from here, you're going to select Report an Incident. Now, if you have incidents that have already been reported for people that you're assigned to, you may see a list of those incidents here, in which case you wouldn't see this option here. You would see a list of incidents. But in this case, you can select either here or here. Both of them will take you to the same place. Now that you are in the incident communication form, you are going to fill in all of the areas here. So the date and time that the incident occurred, if it occurred today, maybe it occurred earlier this morning at 10 a.m., but we didn't get around to reporting this until 11 a.m. Okay, for department, you can leave this blank, that's totally fine. For program, you are going to have access to anything that you're currently assigned to in iCM as an option to select. So as my test guy, Abraham Lincoln, these are the locations that he's currently assigned to in iCM. I'm going to go ahead and select our test home for this particular video. If this incident did not occur at one of our sites or a program, and instead maybe it occurred somewhere else, like Six Flags or the mall or the store or mom and dad's house, whatever that may be, you can go ahead and select other program, and then you can type in what that program was or the location, and then type in the address here. But notice if you are able to select that it was one of our sites or programs, it's automatically going to fill in that address for you because that's part of our setup in iCM. Next, you're going to add the names of the supported people involved. So if this incident involved more than just one person, you can select more than one. So we could say it was Daisy Duck and Donald Duck, or we could just say this was just an incident for Donald Duck. Next, you're going to go ahead and select the types of incident. So you're going to click on this purple blue button, and you're going to see a whole lot of options for you to choose from. And you are just going to choose the most appropriate option here. And you can select more than one. So for example, we could say maybe this person went to the ER and it was because of an injury, because they fell. Again, this could be numerous different options that you could select in here. Just select the best option. You can read through these. We have a section specific for abuse, accidents. AWOL is for our elopements or our folks that have run off and they are no longer within sight of our staff. We have behavioral here. We have a death, any legal incidents. These are all of our medical. These are all of our medication incidents. We have a section for miscellaneous, public health, self-harm, and then slips, trips, and falls. So if you have any questions about, categorizing an incident, please just select the best option here. And then when your supervisor or the quality services director, myself, comes in to review this incident, we can correct the classification or the categorization of this incident. Not a big deal here. Just make sure that you're selecting the best match within this list. Once you've selected your types of incidents, you're going to give us a brief status update on the person at the time of the report. So in this incident, maybe Donald Duck is currently in the ER. He was taken to the ER. So that's exactly what I want to say. I'm reporting this at 11 a.m. The incident happened at 10 a.m. At the time that I'm reporting this incident, Donald Duck is currently still in the ER. And that's what I want to report. If we're reporting an incident of an injury that we found, a bruise, we want to say how the person's doing. Is the person at home? Are they lying in bed? Are they at home watching TV? Whatever that may be, we want to include the status of the person at the time that we are actually reporting this incident. So in this case, I'm going to say Donald Duck is currently at Baltimore Washington Medical Center ER. Okay. Select the staff present at the time of the incident. This is going to give you our entire staff directory to pick from. You can scroll down and select, or you can start typing. So in this case, I could say that it was George Washington was present. If there was more than one staff present, I can just keep typing. So maybe it was George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. If it was only one, you can go ahead and click that. You could also have the option to say that no staff were present. We do have incidents like that. And then we also have a section for non-staff present at the time of the incident. So this could be maybe mom or dad. This could be a member of the community. This is also the section that we would need to use if we needed to name a staff person who's no longer with us. Maybe we're finding out about an incident after the fact. They're not going to be in our staff directory up here, so we will need to type their name in here. That's a pretty rare occasion, but just wanted to put that out there so that we all know where to put that. And then we're going to enter the description of the incident. So we want the who, what, where, when, and then if we know it, the how and the why. So this should kind of be like the incident from start to finish so far. So in this case, Donald Duck went to the ER because I believe I selected that he fell. So I want to put in all the information and the details that I know of so far. So an example of some of the details that you want to make sure you include in this section would be the what happened, how it happened if we know it, when it happened, where it happened, who it happened to, if anybody else was involved in this incident. If it includes an injury, you also want to describe the injury. So in this case, Donald Duck, he missed the last step as he was coming down the stairs, and he landed on his bottom. However, it looks like he hit his head on the stair rail. So we want to describe what that injury looks like. So in this case, I included the skin was not broken, but there was a slight raised red mark about the size of a quarter on the left side of his forehead. So you want to get as descriptive as you can so that the person who's reviewing this incident knows exactly what happened and what it is that we're looking at. The next thing that you want to do is include any actions that you as the staff, or if you're reporting this on behalf of the staff, what your staff did. So in this case, I included, we checked on Donald. Donald said he was fine, he could walk and nothing else hurt. George then helped Donald into a nearby chair and held a washcloth with ice to his forehead. And then who did we call? So then staff called Dimensional Healthcare and took Donald's vital signs. We include the vital signs here. Vital signs are now a standard every time we call the nurse. So we should be including the vital signs that we took here. And then what the nurse told us to do. Now, if we, called our supervisor instead, or the parent instead, maybe this is a different type of incident, a different type of circumstance, then we would want to include, who we called and what the next directives were. This next section is the staff's first response. So if you included some of the detail here, you may be repeating yourself, but you can also get a little more detailed here. So an example of this would be George called Dimensional Healthcare, and then on the way to the ER, George then called the Bella McCree Program Director, Thomas Jefferson, and Donald's father, Mickey Mouse. If you were instructed by the nurse to call 911, you would also include that here. We called Dimensional Healthcare. We were then instructed to call 911. We called 911. We followed the directives of the EMS, and then we notified our supervisor and any family members that are involved with this person. The next section is where you can mark the area of injury. So if you are reporting an incident that does not include an injury, you can skip this piece. This is not a requirement. But if you did include an injury, so in this case, Donald Duck fell and he hit the left-hand side of his forehead, I want to indicate a mark where that injury took place. If this person had multiple injuries, then you could check everywhere. And then once you have marked at least one spot on this diagram, you always have the ability to say undo last. So I'm just going to keep this one mark here on the left-hand side of his forehead. And then below that, we have staff response at time of incident detailed. So this is just making sure that we gather all of the details necessary. So it's going to ask us yes or no questions. And anytime we click yes, it's going to ask us a little bit more information. So was first aid treatment necessary? In this example, yes, first aid treatment was necessary. And it's going to ask what was rendered. Was George helped Donald up to a nearby chair and assessed him? I'm going to correct my spelling. And he placed a washcloth with ice on the injury on his forehead. Was the nurse called? Most of our incidents do require that we call the nurse because we notify the nurse anytime there is a change in baseline or if there's any other incident such as an allegation of abuse or neglect or something like that, that we want to make the nurse aware of. So once we click yes, it's going to ask when we call the nurse and the name of that nurse. So in this case, I'm going to say we called the nurse at 10:10 a.m. and the nurse's name was Minnie Mouse. Was 911 called? In this case, we didn't call 911. We took the person to the ER. But if I did call 911 and I clicked yes, then it's going to ask the call time. And then something new for us is the arrival time. So these can kind of be guesstimates. It's just to help us establish a timeline of the incident. So if I call the nurse and the nurse is like, get off the phone with me, call 911, then maybe by 10:15, we were able to notify 911 and they came, maybe it took them 15 minutes to get to us. So maybe they came to us by 10:30. Okay, but if we click no, then it's not going to ask us anything further. Was the family or guardian called? If the person has family or a guardian or an advocate involved, unless they have indicated otherwise, then we definitely do want to keep them in the loop with incidents about their loved one. So if we click yes, it's going to ask the call time. Maybe we did that by 10:30. It's going to ask the name. And then we're also going to ask that you put the phone number that you use to notify this person. This just helps us to check our contact list for this person and make sure that we have all of the up-to-date contact information for their family guardian or advocate. For the address, you do not need to put an address. It's an option, but it's not needed. And if you forget to put the phone number, it's not the end of the world. It's just something that we're requesting to help us with our contacts. Was the doctor called? This happens every now and then. It's actually not frequent that we would call the doctor directly for an incident unless the nurse requests us to, or maybe a family member is requesting us to. If we say yes to this, it's going to ask what time we call the doctor. And then it's also going to ask if an order was received. So this would be if the doctor wrote an electronic order and sent it over to Northern Pharmacy for those of our folks that utilize Northern Pharmacy, or maybe the doctor called in an order. Obviously, we are only CMTs here, so we cannot accept an order from the doctor. This is just a record of the doctor sent an order to a pharmacy for this person, not that we received a verbal order from the doctor. So if we do say that an order was received, the doctor called in an order or sent in an electronic order, then it's going to ask us what that order was. In this case, I'm going to say no, we did not call the doctor. Did the person require medical treatment? In this case, I'm going to say yes, because we took this person to the ER. So I've already indicated my first aid treatment that I provided. This is medical treatment. So I'm going to say, George took Donald to Baltimore Washington Medical Center. So maybe something along the lines of George took Donald to the ER, a CT scan was done, and Tylenol was administered. If we know that. If at the time we're reporting this incident and we're not sure what medical treatment has been done, we can simply say this person was taken to the ER, or this person was admitted to the hospital, anything along those lines. Or if we don't know at all, we could always just say no. Was the fire department called? So we've already asked, was 911 called? And in order to call the fire department, you do call 911. And typically, about 90% of the time, if you call 911 for an ambulance, the fire department or fire truck also comes, because they're coming from the same location, and it just provides them with more people to help in that incident. This, we would want you to indicate yes, only if we called specifically for fire department services. So something like a fire or a potential gas leak or something like that, that's when you would indicate yes. But if we called 911 for ambulance services and the fire truck came, but we didn't actually call for fire department services, then we would indicate no for this. So this last question is, were restraints used? Here at Bella McCree, we are a restraint-free agency. So anytime restraints are used for somebody, it would be considered an incident here at Bella McCree, and an investigation would be needed to inquire into why we needed restraints. So we click yes, it is going to ask if the person was injured as a result of that restraint. Once you have made all of your selections, you're going to scroll up to the top and you're going to click Save. And the next thing that appears is a signature box. So you are required to sign the incident report. Now, if you have already saved your electronic signature in your profile, I'm also going to show you how you can pull your signature that way. Because if you're anything like me, it took me a couple tries to try and get my signature to look somewhat decent. So that's the signature I would like to use for incident reports. But this is going to kind of force a signature just to make sure that this form is signed. It is a legal document, so we need to make sure that signatures are collected. So you can sign it here. My signature is awful. And you can put in your name and your title. And you can go ahead and save that. And then you can scroll down to the bottom of this screen. And here you have the ability to pull your signature. So if you have a signature that's saved in your profile, you can come here to pull your signature. So I'm currently logged in as Abraham Lincoln. So the signature that I have saved on file is this. So I can go ahead, if this was you and you were pulling your electronic signature, you could trash the one that you don't like and then keep the one that you do. Just make sure that you have a signature on this form somewhere, okay? The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to double check all of your entries. So this is just kind of a draft, if you will. You can go ahead and check over everything, make sure that you've selected everything correctly. So after you have checked over all of your entries and everything is correct, you can go ahead and save this, but you also have the ability to upload a document to this. So some examples of documents that you may need to upload to this would be something like our post-fall monitoring form, or the dimensional healthcare medication error report form. Those two documents are documents that wouldn't be saved anywhere else within iCM. So this is a good place to upload those documents so that it's associated with this incident. Other documents, like if I took Donald Duck to the ER and I get the discharge paperwork, or I take him to urgent care, or anything like that, those types of documents should be saved within that person's e-chart under the medical appointment records. We don't want you to save those types of medical documents in this section as well as the medical appointment record section. We don't want duplicate entries. So anything that should be saved under the medical appointment record section should be saved there. And then anything that wouldn't be saved within that section, you can go ahead and upload here. In all honesty, the only two forms that I can think of that we would do this for would be the post-fall monitoring form and Dimensional Healthcare's medication error report form. In order to upload a document, you just need to click on Upload Document, type in the file name, choose a file. I'm just choosing a random file, and then click on Upload. And if you go here to upload documents, you can see your document here. Just like in other sections of iCM, you upload a document to get it into iCM, and if you want to see it, you need to download it in order to view it. So we upload to get it into the system, we download it to view it after the fact. And you would click on this drop-down arrow to go ahead and download that to view the document. So if you've uploaded a document and you went into uploaded documents to check your upload, then to get back to the incident communication form, you want to go ahead and click on this incident communication, because you always want to make sure that you have saved your work. So you've already double checked everything. You've uploaded any documents that need to be uploaded, and now you're going to go ahead and save your incident. And after you have saved it, your part is done. Unless your supervisor reaches out to you after you have submitted this to ask for some clarifying details or any other type of follow-up questions that your supervisor may have, your part as far as reporting the incident is done at this point. So great job.